Hey, let's catch up some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed and then put on the draft spotlight, Cody Williams.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs and happy Monday, everybody. I am Jeff Garcia, Spurs beat writer for KENS 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And it is draft week. It'll get you going today, right now, on Locked On Spurs with a draft spotlight, as you can see on your screen. As we're going to be doing today, we're going to be putting into the draft spotlight Cody Williams. And then, but before we do that, we're going to catch up some Spurs news and notes. There's quite a handful to get up to speed. And then talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans. You guys are leaving a lot of comments, and we're going to be discussing those. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. It's the sports app that you want to get right now. FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Yeah, can you believe it? It is draft week. Draft is this Wednesday. A lot of Spurs fans are talking about it on social media. The Spurs have picks 4 and 8, and that's what you're hearing a lot right now, especially in the chatter right now. Let's kick things off. Hey, look, where there's smoke, there's fire situation here. According to Mark Stein, Alexander Sarr is projected to go number 2 overall to Washington. But according to Stein, San Antonio still has interest jumping up from 4 to 1. And they want to make a deal with Hawks. It's not the first time this report has surfaced. It's like the second time. Is there smoke? Is there smoke? Is there fire? Will the Spurs pull the trigger and trade 4 and 8 all the way up to number 1, or just make some sort of deal to get to number 1? Yeah, we'll see. You know, could the Spurs mortgage 4 and 8 for number 1? I could see that. Yeah, I mean, 1 bite of the apple versus 2 bite of the apple, but is the number 1 pick bite of the apple? And if Sarr is their guy, probably they'll go after him, but I don't think so. I think it's probably Risha Shea. The Spurs have been scouting him for quite a long time. He even told me himself that he's aware the Spurs have been scouting him. So if they do make a move, I think it'll be for Risha Shea. In other Spurs draft news, projected pick Tijane Salaloon is, some mocks have him going high as, top 10, maybe top 15. But according to a report, seems like a few days ago, Saloon suffered an injury during a pre-draft workout with the Spurs. And according to the report, he has canceled a lot of the workouts that he has ahead of him. But interesting to know because, like I said, some mocks have the Spurs picking him. Some fans want the Spurs to pick him. They feel he's a sleeper pick to go as high. History, if there's a lesson there to be learned from history, the Spurs have made shocking first-round picks. Remember the whole Josh Primo pick? Everybody was stunned when the Spurs picked him early in the first round. Who's say that Saloon will be another shocking pick? And if he is, he's very raw. Wouldn't be surprised if he sees time in the G League. But at least according to a report, he got hurt during a pre-draft workout. Some fans think it's just all to get a game. The Spurs are being the Spurs and saying there was an injury. Maybe they want him. But that's the latest when it comes to Saloon, the French guy that wants to be in the NBA. And he'll likely get called. But will he go to San Antonio? That remains to be seen. In other Spurs news, we're keeping with the draft theme here. Yahoo Sports is reporting that San Antonio has made the number 8 pick available. That does shake things up in the draft this Wednesday. In a draft pool that's considered tepid, do the Spurs make a move to at least bolster themselves to a position where they can get a better player? It would make sense for the Spurs to move up, move down, out of the draft, but for what? I mean, that is the open question. You think about them using the pick again to target their guy, whether that's a point guard like a Stephon Castle or is it Risha Shea? We'll see. But as of now, nobody has bitten on that, at least according to any report. And, look, the Spurs can package that pick, the number 4 pick, get players, future draft picks, whatever they can to move up if they want. They have the cash. They have the money. They have the picks. They have the players. They can do it. But will they do it? Historically, the Spurs don't make a major, major draft move like that. Maybe this year will be different. We'll see what Brian Wright and the whole Spurs draft war room staff has to say come Wednesday night. Other Spurs news, look, if this should calm anybody's nerves that think that Wemby might be bolting when his first rookie contract extension goes out the window, he put on social media, "Happy 1 year anniversary, Spurs!" 3 heart emojis. So he loves being in San Antonio, and it's good to hear that from him. Those Spurs fans are all about that tweet that Wemby put out there, or should I say the X post that he put out there. Look, he likes being a Spur. He cried on the draft day, that he's a Spur. He's in the NBA. He always that collar, that jersey with the Spur on it. He points to it during the rookie sophomore game at the All-Star break 2024. So if you have any doubts that Wemby's not happy being a Spur, then that tweet that he put out there a few days ago should calm your nerves. And finally, another Spurs news, Chris Haynes, the NBA, he's according to his sources, he's been told that the Spurs are expected to have interest in Tobias Harris. So keep listening to the words expected. This is not a concrete report. This is just speculative, just like saying like you telling me that, hey, Jeff, maybe you might be expected to watch the next anime because everybody knows I'm a big nerd. But just keep that in mind. Sometimes, look at the wording when these reports come out. Again, this is just the Spurs are reportedly expected to have ample interest. Harris. Look, if the Spurs do end up having interest in him and it becomes true that the Spurs make a deal for him, wouldn't it be surprising? He is a veteran. He's an all-star. He's been in the league for quite some time, double-figure scoring career-wise. Could slide in and be another big for the Spurs to use to pair with Wemby. But it'll be interesting to see if the Spurs goes for a major free agent this offseason. I always say to wait till next free agent pool in 2025 because that one's a lot deeper and better. But if the Spurs go with Tobias Harris, it'll be a bad pickup. They do, solve the need for a veteran presence. There it is. We'll see what the Spurs do in the days to come. Free agencies are ready to reopen. They got the draft this week. Yeah, it's exciting time to see the Spurs continuing their rebuild. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Jack Thompson. We're going to be discussing Cody Williams. We're going to put him in the draft spotlight. Should the Spurs swing the fences for him with 4 or 8? What should the Spurs do with him if he's on the board? That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, but first I want to talk to you about eBay Motors. Drive, passion, patience. That is the winning formula for winning championships and also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle. To peak performance, superchargers, they got that. Roof racks, yep. What about exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more? They got it all. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with that eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, you're not burning cash. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, turn your car into the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Once again, that's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
Look who is back, everybody. Jack Thompson, formerly with San Antonio Sports star, rocking a t-shirt that I am very jealous of right now. That is awesome. Look at that. Look at that. I have the American voice actor. He does a promo for Locked On Spurs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he does a promo for Locked On Spurs. Yeah, so
nice.
pretty cool there. Jack, I'm pretty sure you're excited right now. We're just what, 2 days away?
We're so close, man.
2 days away from the draft. Good Lord. The mock drafts. We're gonna get into Cody Williams in just a few seconds, but I mean the mock drafts are everywhere. Before we dive into the spotlight, Williams, I just want to get your opinion on this, okay? So the Locked On NBA Network, last week we started doing our final mock in anticipation for this Wednesday, okay? So we're as of this recording, we're still at number 5, okay? Guys take forever, whatever. Okay, but I want to run you down 1 through 4, okay? And tell me what you think. So the mock started off with Sar going number 1. All right, no surprise. Okay, fine. Number 2, Wizards, they picked Donovan Clingan. Okay.
Interesting.
Number 3, Rockets, they picked Reed. Okay. I took Ricochet at 4. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if Ricochet is there at 4, it's tough to argue not to take him. I mean, we've been clamoring over this guy for quite a while, thinking he's going to go number 1 or 2. So if he falls to 4, then that's fantastic.
Yeah. By the way, the number 6 pick was offered, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do because at that time, the Locked On Pistons hadn't made their pick yet. And by the way, as of this recording, they still haven't made their pick yet. So um, I was wondering. I talked to Pledger, our good friend. He was all take it because he doesn't want to lose Castle. That's why he didn't want to. Because Castle's still on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the final mock, everybody will be coming out. I hope by Wednesday, so we can see who's going where. But my point of that, Jack, is showing you that the mocks are all over the place. I mean, they
Oh
really,
yeah.
really are. I mean, about Sar is probably the only one that's certain to go 1 or 2, right, at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen like I saw an article though that Sar is beginning to slide in people's
Oh, wow.
drafts. So,
Wow.
ooh, really, there's no idea on how this is
Yeah.
going to play out in a couple days.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start our draft spotlight. I think it might be our last one. Probably. I know I'm gonna bug Jack in a while to come back before Wednesday, or at least on Wednesday. But Jack, Cody Williams, you've been high on this kid. You've been really high on this kid. You've been asking me to put him in the spot. Actually, you picked the next spotlight.
Yes.
You wanted him. What do you like about Cody Williams? Why do you think he'd be a good pick for the Spurs?
He's just that prototypical wing that you want in the league right now. 6'8", super long, athletic player, high IQ. He's got basketball pedigree. I mean, we've seen what his older brother has become in his few years in the league. And Cody Williams is a higher touted player than his brother was. So I see a lot of potential in this kid. He shot 40% from three. He shot 62% from two. So I mean, he's got the offensive game. He can put the ball in the bucket. He's very dynamic, finishing around the rim at not even over 200 pounds yet. So once he gets that man's frame on his body, he's going to be a lethal offensive player. I feel like he's got great form and he's a good shooter from three. Like I said, 41%, one of the higher percentages of the players that we've broken down in our spotlight series. So, yeah, I think Cody Williams at 8 is a tremendous value. I think he's going to carve out a very good role for himself in the league for quite a long time.
Yeah, you talk about the pedigree, his brother's doing things with OKC. Also, too, I like the fact that he was tapped to play with Team USA. So
Hmm.
that should tell you something that they feel he's good enough to represent the US of A. He can defend, I think, 1 through 4, right? He's that versatile, is he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
His handles are pretty good. I've seen some footage of him. A good handle on him, can run an offense. Um, Create offense for himself. I think that's safe to say. He can definitely generate points on his own. Um, what about playing downhill? That's all it's about this NBA. It's just going downhill, going downhill. Can he help spark the Spurs offense in that fashion?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he shot 62% from two, and you
Yeah.
you know, you got to imagine that I don't have never seen his shot chart, but you got to imagine most of that's right around the rim. Sure he's taking some mid-range jumpers, but most of that is definitely right around the rim. So he's already a fairly elite finisher around the rim with his size. And like I said, once he gets, that
Hmm.
man's body on him, which is going to be necessary for his development in the league. So once he gets that man's body on him, hits the weights, I think he's going to be a tremendous finisher going downhill. I mean, he's a very crafty player, high basketball IQ. He's got a good handle. So getting downhill for him shouldn't be a problem. And I think he's going to be able to create off the pass, off the dribble, and, finishing in a straight line down to the rim. So I think, like I said, Cody Williams definitely got a chance to be a very good player in the league for quite a long time.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the measurables right now. 6'8" with shoes, 190. So there you go, putting on a little bit more weight on him. 7'1" wingspan, and then a
Hmm.
standing reach of 8 feet 7 inches. This kid is long, long. Definitely would cause havoc on both ends of the floor. Uh, what about the fit? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Wemby. Does he fit with Wemby in the Wemby era?
Yeah, I think he definitely fits. He's a very unselfish player. I mean, he came into Colorado as a 5-star, but he came into a team that already had two players who are also in this draft, Tristan Da Silva and man, what was the Xavier? I think the guard Simpson or something like that. I can't remember his name. So he came into a team where he was already, highly touted, but he was not the top dog because he had two really good upperclassmen on his team. So he knows how to play a role and how to thrive in that role. Obviously, I mean, he played himself into lottery consideration throughout the year. So I think coming into a team with Wemby, he knows that he's never going to be the top dog. He's a very unselfish player. He knows, he's got a high basketball IQ, so I'm not worried about him, just focusing on his own numbers. He's a team guy. So yeah, I think Cody Williams with the fit on the Spurs at the 3, with Jeremy at the 4 and Wemby at the 5, I feel like that's a pretty dynamic, front court. So I like Cody Williams' fit with the Spurs a lot. I think, he comes in, he can shoot the ball already. He can get downhill. He knows what the NBA is about. He's got his older brother, so he's seen him, going through it. He's got someone, on his side and on his shoulder talking to him. So, yeah, I think sky's the limit for Cody Williams. I think he can get about as good as he wants to get.
Yeah.
And it's just all about the work that he puts in. And I see him being a great fit alongside Wemby.
Yeah, he shot 41% from the 3 line last season in Colorado, but keep this in mind, he only attempted 1.7 threes a game, so take that for what it's worth. Looking at some comps here, Brandon Miller is a comp that you're looking at scouting reports give him. Trey Murphy the third, Jaden McDaniels. Is that about spot on?
Yeah, I really like the Trey Murphy and the Jaden McDaniels. I think he's going to come in. He's going to be able to be an elite defender right off the bat because of his tremendous size and length. And then on the offensive end, like what do those two guys do best? They hit timely threes, open threes, they make the right passes. And I think that's exactly what Cody Williams is going to come in. He's going to immediately start as a great 3 and D player. Can guard 1 through 4 easily, and he's going to be able to hit the open 3. So I think Cody Williams is definitely high. He's high on my board for the Spurs, and I would be extremely excited if we took him at 8. I think he's a great fit for the team.
And you know what, too? It's not like the Spurs have ever tapped into the Colorado pool. A guy named Derek White.
Derek White, NBA
Colorado, right
champion.
there. NBA champion Derek White came from that school. I'm assuming you're going to probably swat this down, but picking him at number 4 way, way too early, right?
Yeah, probably a little too early. There are guys higher on my board that I would take over Cody, like Castle and Matas, and Rishache if he falls. But at 8, I mean, for him, for me at 8, it's either Dalton Connect or Cody Williams. That's really the main two that I want at 8. So if he's there at 8, snag him. Like I said, I think he's a tremendous fit. He gives me a little bit of, young Kawhi vibes, very soft spoken, just about the work.
Watch out now, Jack.
Hey, it's just, the player comp. If you can't find a Spurs player or a Spurs fan out there that if what went down hadn't gone down like it is, Kawhi would be a legend here in San
Yes, he
Antonio.
would. Yeah.
So
Yeah, he would.
Cody Williams, he gives me that kind of vibe, just all about the work, trying to get better, soft spoken, defense first kind of guy like Kawhi was. And then the offensive development just came fast and heavy. And I feel like that can really happen with Cody Williams, and he can turn into a budding star in this league with the right amount of, development and time put into his game.
Yeah, I looked at his rebounding numbers out in Colorado. A little low in my opinion. I think I got him right here. Let me just pull him up real fast.
He was playing the 3 a lot. He was
Okay.
never really playing the
Okay.
4.
Well, he was averaging about 3 rebounds per game. I was thinking, like, well, with that wingspan and that standing leap and all that, those measurables, you think that might be a little bit on the higher end, but
The
3.0 rebounds.
the best player on that Colorado team was their 4, Tristan Da
Okay.
Silva. So he really he didn't see much minutes
Okay.
at the 4. He was a perimeter 3 most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And overall, yeah, I like the kid. I think if the Spurs take him at 8, I would not be mad. I don't think many Spurs fans will be upset about that. He has the length to be a disruptor on defense. He has the length to be a creator on offense. He's coming, at least for the Spurs' sake. He's coming from Colorado. Spurs have experience with that system there. he has great strength on both ends, offensive, defensive. But what would you say his weakest point would be? Well, you kind of hinted at it. His physicalness. He's not matured body wise. But anything on the court that you think that could use some fine tuning?
Besides his physicality, I would say it's probably like his mentality and like aggressiveness level. He comes off as sort of a passive, finesse type player. In the league, that's definitely going to have to evolve into more, physicality around the basket and just having that attack mentality, that let me dominate you mentality. I think, I don't know him personally, so I don't
You
know
don't?
how he
That's
carries
shocking.
himself, but the way he comes off on the court might be a little bit passive. So I would say just, the confidence level and knowing that, you're an NBA guy, go out, put the work in, and the results will come. They'll show for themselves. So I think just that sort of attack dominate mentality is really all he needs to work on. Of course, he's 18, 19,
Yeah,
so he needs to
kid.
work on everything in his game when he
Yeah,
comes to the league. There's no doubt about that.
yeah,
But as
absolutely.
far as, what stands out, it's that mentality and physicality for me.
Absolutely. All right. There you have it. Spotlight Cody Williams. Number 8 would be okay for the Spurs. I mean, if they
Yeah,
walk away
tremendous
with,
pick.
yeah, if they were to walk away with, let's just put it out there, Castle and Williams, I don't think you'd be mad. I don't think any Spurs fan would
No,
be
I
mad,
would be
right?
ecstatic. That's a
Yeah.
fantastic draft.
Yeah, exactly. So Spurs are sitting pretty. And I was thinking about this the other day, Jack. The Spurs, where they're positioned at 4-8, they're kind of in good spots because
Mhm.
look at how the Locked On NBA mock started off. Oh no, not Ricochet falling to the floor, or
Yeah,
flip it, or Reed falls to the floor if
yeah.
Houston sees. I mean, they're sitting in a really good, especially that number 4 spot and the number 8 spot. I think they should play with the number 8 to see who,
Mhm.
who wants it. But I think I would keep number 4, see who wants to play with number 8, and move on from there. But the draft is just days away,
Finally.
and yeah, we'll see what the Spurs do with 4 and 8 coming up this Wednesday. All right, coming up next is you guys, Locked On Spurs fan comments. We'll keep with the draft theme. We'll see what y'all are talking about when it comes to the Spurs at the 2024 NBA draft. Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Look, I love sports. I love them so much. I don't want them ever to stop. But as sports continues this summer, sometimes maybe there's fewer games. We're gonna hit that dry point of the. But FanDuel lets me keep sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open that app and dream up of bets when I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. You want to go to fanduel.com/locked on right now. Make a move right now. Start making the most out of your summer with FanDuel. Look, it's very easy to use, simple to download or simple to sign up. Quick, fast. You can make your picks in seconds. Look, they got it all at FanDuel. I got it. You should have it too. You want to go to FanDuel once again? That's fanduel.com/locked on right now. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. He is formerly with San Antonio Sports Star, and he's our go-to guy for all things NBA draft prospects, and so much more. The series continues. In this case, it's the series of Locked On Spurs fans and the draft questions. And we got so many draft questions, Jack. We're going to pick 2 of them. But why don't we give a quick shout out to the fans in France? The fans in France. We have a guy all the way in that country. His name is Diego. I'm going to try not to butcher your last name. I'm sorry, Diego. Perrotta, Perrotta. Hopefully I did that right, Diego. But he says, shout out all the way from France. He listens to Locked On Spurs as often as he can. But he does have a comment for us, Jack.
Hell yeah.
And
Let's
he
go.
is throwing out his picks at 4 and 8. Okay. And according to
Let's
him,
hear
he
'em.
said this is the way to go for the Spurs. Here we go. So he goes, Castle and Connect. This is the way to go. Listen to you every day from Paris, France. Go Spurs, go. What do you think of that? Do you think at the end of the day, the Spurs ended up with Castle and Connect, another A+ draft?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Steven Castle, I've been raving about him for quite a while. Number 1 guard on my big board. I think he can come into the league right away. He'll be an elite defender. And the offensive game will come. There's no doubt about that. But he's an immediate contributor as a rookie, and I'm super high on him. And then Dalton Connect, I mean, arguably the best offensive player in the class. 6'6", sniper from 3, got a huge vertical, can get down the lane, dunk on anyone. Very, very multifaceted offensive scorer, 3-level scorer, as they like to say. So yeah, I mean, Dalton Connect and Stephon Castle would be absolutely a fantastic draft for the Spurs, with 2 guys that can immediately come in and make contributions and make a difference to the squad.
Yeah, I could definitely say that. I mean, I think, again, go back to the last segment. I think the Spurs are sitting pretty at 4-8.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
really, really are. They're going to get quality contributors right when they're on the draft, when they're on the clock. So, yeah, if it's Connect and Castle at the end of the day, oh no, not that, Jack, not that.
That's fantastic.
All right, thank you for that comment all the way from France. The next comment we have, Jack, is from Guadalupe Chavira. He says, So he's throwing out his request for a point guard. He says, the point guard, Devin Carter, 6'3", 195, Providence, 42-inch vertical. Guadalupe, Jack, he's all about Devin Carter. And you're hearing a lot of buzz right now about Devin Carter. And I want to get your thoughts on him, because you're hearing reports that the Spurs are interested in him. Some mock drafts have the Spurs taking him at number 8. What are your thoughts on Devin Carter? We really haven't got a chance to talk about him.
Yeah, Devin Carter, I mean, he's a seasoned college guy. He's been in 3-4 years. Providence, I mean, he's led the Friars, to the NCAA tournament several times. He's he's got that Drew Holiday, Derek White build. He's a defensive dog on the defensive end. He wants to lock you up. He wants to make things extremely uncomfortable for you on that, that end of the floor. And offensively, I mean, he's a seasoned guy. He's got a high basketball IQ at the point guard, great at running the show on offense, and he can score. He's a good shooter, can shoot it from 3. I definitely, I see him carving a quality role out for himself in the league. And if we took him at 8, I can't say that I would be upset about it. I mean, he's in my top 5 players for people I would want at 8. So yeah, he's a guy that's going to be able to come into the league, carve out a good role. I'm not sure I ever see him, being a NBA star, but he can absolutely be a star in his role, like Derek White has become. I mean, you can look at Derek White. There's not a team in the league that would turn down having him on their team. So you get a guy with that cut from that same cloth on your team, like Devin Carter. He definitely can be an immediate contributor, and he'll be a pest on defense, and he'll be able to run the show on offense. So yeah, he's a quality prospect that I think definitely still has room to grow in his talent level. So I think Devin Carter, a quality pick at 8, and I would not be upset about it.
Yeah, you mentioned Derek White. Yeah, that's been kind of one of the biggest comp there. They're comparing his ceiling to Derek White, which is not too shabby. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Contributor on an NBA championship team. You can't really ask for a better player comp than that.
You don't think Carter at 8 is too high for him? Or that's about right? It just feels too high.
I think once you get, past 6, it's kind of who you like the best. I'm not sure there's really a too high or too low for guys. And I think, if you're in love with Devin Carter at 8, go and take him. I don't think that would be too high for him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the draft is just a few days away. And again, we'll keep it churning here. I'm going to see, Jack, I'm going to just ask you right now. Would you like to come on Locked On Spurs on draft day, hours before the show begins? All right. Jack will be back again this week. Get him. He'll probably be sweating bullets. He'll be like that movie from Airplane, the guy, the pilot, just sweating everywhere. He'll be like, what's going on? Ready to see who shakes out. By the way, you mentioned something right now. Do you think the draft starts at after 6 or after 7? Like, when do you think the draft really starts?
I think it starts at 1, man. I mean, we don't know who's going where. I think it could be crazy from the jump. I mean, we could see a clinging at 1. We could see.
Can you imagine?
We could see anything happen. I feel like so. I feel like the draft definitely starts at 1. And, we've broken down all of these players that we think are going to be in the top 10. And there's going to be some surprise guys that we haven't really even talked about that make that jump into the mid to late lottery that it's going to be a mess, man. I feel like it's going to be all over the place, and I'm super excited to see how it plays out.
Absolutely. Jack will be back this week, likely on draft day. So Wednesday, we'll see. We're going to get that going and get him back on here and give him his final thoughts before showtime begins out in New York City. Hey, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about Cody Williams? Should the Spurs take a flyer on him? Use one of their picks? Let us know. You can let Jack know at Jack_Thompson33. You can let me know by going to Locked On Spurs on the YouTube page. Leave your comment. We'll read them on the next episode of Locked On Spurs. And check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel only on YouTube, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, 24/7 streaming sports talk on YouTube. Go subscribe to it right now. So for Jack, what was your favorite blade in Demon Slayer? Your favorite blade?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to not like Rengoku's blade.
Okay, we'll go with that one.
The Fire Hashira, but it's tough, man. Have you seen any of the new season?
I haven't, man. I'm trying to. I just finished watching the Prime series Outer Range. You ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it is phenomenal. So it just season 2 just recently was released.
Nice.
Ran through it, wrapped that up. I'm trying to get through Harley on Max, that comedy show.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's not for kids, everybody. Not for kids. They show stuff that you would never think an animated show would show. They show it. So I'm trying to get through that. But I know I should bump up Demon Slayer this season higher on my list.
Yeah, it's about to get really good where it's at right now.
All right. Well, we'll go with Rengoku then. All right. So for Jack Rengoku Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.